Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has a strong case for winning MVP this season, and while his skills are elite, many hoopers don't understand the work it took for him to get to this level. So today we will go over 5 drills he uses to become unguardable. The first drill he does often is something I call the get to your spot drill. It's when you focus solely on your highest percentage shot in order to master it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has mastered the mid-range shot, and it wasn't by accident. Whether it's pre-game or a summer workout, it's obvious that the mid-range shot is something he prioritizes when training. And this isn't uncommon. Kobe Bryant is known for spending entire training sessions at 1 or 2 spots, which were in the mid-range.
Because he would get in his workouts, and he would stay in one spot for 45 minutes. Like, P, just imagine you go to your
moves
workout
after moves, huh?
and you go to the left block, P, and you're just there for 45 minutes, and you just repping out a turnaround jump shot for 45 minutes and in a full sweat.
Kawhi Leonard, another all-time great mid-range scorer, is also known for doing the same exact thing. While it is important for hoopers to develop elite shooting from every spot on the court, it's just not realistic. The higher level of basketball you play, the goal is to be efficient. And the only way you can do that is by having great shot selection, and shot selection is solely based on what area on the floor can you make the most jumpers. Every elite scorer in the NBA scores from the same spots. Kevin Durant scores mostly at the elbows, Kobe Bryant owns the mid-range, and so has Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So for my hoopers out there, find 1 or 2 spots on the court where you are most efficient, and spend 80% of your scoring and shooting work in those spots only. Once Shai began to master different variations of the mid-range jumper, he started adding in counters. This is the secret that all elite scorers follow. They master one spot and then add counters. Every elite scorer has one thing in common, and it's that they can get to their spot whenever they want, because even if the simple shot isn't available, they've developed multiple counters. Let's say your most efficient shot is the right elbow jumper, but in the game when you drove to that spot an elite defender cut you off, a counter in that situation would be to get in a Barkley action and work out of that. So if you master one spot and then master multiple counters, you will be on your way to becoming a better scorer. The next drill he uses is spot shooting. Although he isn't known as a three-point shooter, he's still a respectable shooter who's shooting 35% from 3 this season. There isn't a basketball player in the world who doesn't utilize spot shooting. It's a great way to work on your shooting mechanics while also putting up a lot of reps. Even though he's unstoppable in the mid-range, he understands that being able to be a respectable shooter from deep will make it easier to get downhill to his spots. Spot shooting is very beneficial when you shoot with full intent to make the shot. Most hoopers only focus on quantity over quality. The best shooters are always giving themselves internal feedback after every missed shot. In other words, they know why they missed a shot and they are able to fix that mistake on their next attempt. Really focusing on that during this drill is going to make your spot shooting training a lot more beneficial. The third drill is pick and roll 3-pointers. For modern-day point guards, being able to shoot off of screens is one of the most important skills, especially if you're a shorter hooper. For shorter players, it's harder to create space in isolation or when getting downhill, so to counter that you have to be able to create space with screens and also be able to knock down deep 3-pointers. Because for shorter hoopers it'll make the game easier if you can score on the outside rather than inside amongst the trees, and for Shai this is a very important shot, because most defenses play drop coverage, and with his biggest strength being the mid-range, the drop defender can sag off further than usual, which will open up the 3. So like we mentioned earlier, if he's able to be respectable from 3, now the defenders have to play close up on him, which is what Shai wants you to do anyway, since it'll be easier for him to get downhill in the mid-range. The next thing he does that makes him an elite player is strength training. Here Shai is working on his ability to decelerate. Deceleration is a huge part of his game. He has mastered change of pace, which requires you to do a lot of starting and stopping. Basketball is very stressful on your lower body. You spend approximately 90% of a game cutting and jumping. You can improve your ability to decelerate by doing things like this: wrapping a resistance band around your waist and focusing on stopping on a dime and going against the resistance. I know not everyone has this available, so here are some alternatives shown by KP Sports Performance. He's always strengthening his lower body, like with these weighted side lunges, and again with these medicine ball throws, which focus on his ability to be explosive from the ground up. Hoopers often ignore weight training, but there is no way you can play against great competition without being physically strong. Shai specifically targets lower body training because not only does it help him generate power and aid with deceleration and acceleration, but it strengthens your muscles and tendons, which help prevent injuries. The last workout he does is playing pickup basketball. You don't develop a game like his with just doing 1-on-0 work versus a cone in an empty gym. His feel for the game and overall IQ comes from playing a lot of pickup. Shai himself knows how important feel is to be a good basketball player.
Really good basketball player. You can see he had like 10 points in 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's nice.
And like 3 assists. Very skilled. Knows how to play basketball. And it's cool to see that despite the size that he can play out there. And it goes back to what I said. If you have feel, you can play no matter what.
As we all know, basketball is played 5-on-5, so if 95% of your training is you training by yourself, then the chances of you seeing significant improvement in actual games are low. Basketball is a chaotic and unpredictable game. There are certain things that happen in a game that you can't train by yourself. Shai can score on anyone in isolation and easily score against help defense, not because of individual 1-on-0 training, but it's because he's played so much basketball that he has developed feel, which allows him to know what to do and when to do it in any situation. Pickup basketball also allows him to try out new things and bring out his creativity. Most hoopers play pickup in a less optimal way. They play pickup the same way they play in games. Instead, you should be constantly going outside of your comfort zone by trying new moves, attempting new shots, and just playing carefree basketball in order to explore and learn about yourself.